Hi, this is Nicholas Yock, a registered migration and education agent from Pathway to Oz. Today I'm going to discuss something that we get asked all the time. Can my employer sponsor me? All right? So we're often asked questions like, what are the requirements to sponsor a visa? Is there a specific size the business needs to be? How many employees does it need to have? Does the business need to be profitable, and how long does it need to have operated? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you a very brief overview. Please note, the information is general in nature. There are certain caveats for, select occupations, which might not specifically, meet what I'm saying. So be sure to discuss your situation with a registered migration agent. So look, before we start, guys, we have assisted companies with as low as 2 employees. We've assisted companies with thousands of employees. We've assisted startups with no turnover. We've assisted companies which have been around for decades. Okay, so there's no one size fits all, but this is just a brief overview. So the first thing that the company needs to do, it needs to be operating lawfully in Australia. So in order to do this, you show things like registration of ABN, ACN, tax assessment, BAS statements, lease agreements, those sort of things. Now, generally speaking, it's a little bit easier for a company to become a sponsor if they've operated for at least 12 months. However, if it's a recent startup and it hasn't operated for that long, it's still definitely possible. So for example, a restaurant which is about to open can still potentially apply to become a sponsor. It'll just need to show that it's spent, a bunch of money on the fit out of the restaurant, on applying for all the registrations. It's hired a bunch of other staff. So there doesn't need to have any specific turnover, but it'll need to demonstrate to immigration that it's going down that path. How many staff does the company need to have? Well, the company will want to show that it's got a strong employment record if possible. However, there are no specific amounts of staff needed to be at the company. So we have successfully done sponsorship for companies with, 1 or 2 employees. So for example, a mechanic who's just set up a garage, it's just himself, or there's 1 employee, and he wants to bring on another mechanic. That's common, or, trades where it's very small companies, it's definitely possible. As a general rule of thumb, the more foreigners employed for the company, the more difficult it's going to be to sponsor. So a company which has 20 employees and only 1 foreign employee, it'll probably be easy for them to sponsor compared to a company which has 20 employees and 15 foreign employees. Just because immigration want to see that you've given the opportunities to Australians first. So does the company need to be profitable, or is there a specific turnover the company needs to hit? Generally speaking, there is no specific turnover that the company needs. So there are some caveats for occupations like accountants and things like that. However, the company will need to demonstrate that it does have the capacity to employ. So for example, if the company's got no turnover and not profitable, does it have a lot of cash in the bank that will, keep it going through? Does it have a strong business plan? Is it showing strong signs of growth? Does it have new clients coming on board, so new contracts signed and things like that? However, if a company's, unprofitable, it's got really low turnover, it's just 1 employee who works out of his garage at his house, I don't know if that company will be able to be a sponsor. What documents will immigration request? Well, this is just a general overview, but financial documents, so things like profit and loss, BAS statements, balance sheet, tax assessments, a letter from your accountant, non-financial documents, so ASIC and ABN registration, trustee, lease agreement, evidence of the workforce split, so how many Australian employees do you have? How many foreign employees do you have? But look, generally speaking, if a company is operating lawfully in Australia, has the financial capacity to employ, it usually would be able to sponsor someone. Obviously, that is general in nature, and I would recommend that if you do want to discuss it further, book in for a consultation and we'll look specifically at your company, the occupation, and go from there. Thank you.